I'm going to tell you something that will make you completely rethink who you trust at work. Imagine having someone you consider almost family, someone with whom you share laughter, secrets, and support in the most difficult moments, and discovering that this person is capable of something so low, so calculated, that they turned everyone against me, and still managed to come out as the victim. What happened was so absurd, so unexpected, that it still feels like a movie script, and only those who stick it out until the end will understand the enormity of this betrayal. Stay with me until the end, because what happened next will shock you, and I promise you'll never look at workplace relationships the same way again. Before I dive into this incredible story that changed my entire perspective on trust and workplace dynamics, please hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Trust me, you'll want to share this story with everyone you know after hearing what happened. Let me take you back to the beginning of the pandemic. Like millions of people around the world, I found myself suddenly unemployed when everything shut down. The uncertainty was overwhelming, and I spent sleepless nights wondering how I was going to pay my bills and support myself. But after 3 long months of job searching and rejection after rejection, I finally caught a break. A large company was hiring for customer service positions, and they were specifically looking for people to work from home during these unprecedented times. I was ecstatic when I got the call that I was hired. Not only did I have a job again, but I was joining a team of people who were all in the same boat as me. We were all new hires, all starting this remote work journey together during one of the most challenging times in recent history. From day one, we formed this incredible bond. We had a group chat where we shared everything from work tips to personal struggles, funny memes to words of encouragement when someone was having a tough day. For 7 months, we worked together virtually, building relationships through screens and creating a sense of community that I had never experienced in any previous job. We were more than coworkers. We became a family. We celebrated each other's victories, supported each other through difficulties, and created inside jokes that kept us laughing even during the most stressful customer service calls. Then, everything changed in March. The company announced that we would be transitioning back to in-person work. After 7 months of working in our pajamas and meeting each other only through video calls, we were finally going to meet face-to-face. The excitement was palpable. We were all nervous, but thrilled to finally put real faces to the voices we had grown to love. Those first few weeks back in the office were magical. It was like meeting old friends for the first time. We recognized each other's voices immediately, but seeing everyone in person brought a whole new dimension to our relationships. We were that close-knit group that had started during the pandemic, and now we were together in real life, stronger than ever. The office environment was pretty relaxed and accommodating. Since there was no cafeteria, employees were allowed to order food delivery directly to the office. The receptionist would call your department when your food arrived, and you could go downstairs to pick it up. The company also allowed us to use the office address for personal packages, which was incredibly convenient since most of us were at work all day and would miss deliveries at home. It seemed like a perfect perk, and many of us took advantage of it regularly. Everything was going smoothly until strange things started happening. Small things at first. Someone would complain that their lipstick had gone missing from their desk. Another person couldn't find the $20 they were sure they had brought to work. These incidents seemed random and insignificant, so nobody thought much of it. We all just assumed people were misplacing things or forgetting where they put them. Then the incidents escalated. Someone ordered a book and had it delivered to the office, but when they went to pick it up, it was nowhere to be found. The security guard at the front desk couldn't remember exactly who had come to collect it, and with so many people coming and going, it was impossible to track down. The person who ordered the book decided to let it go and just reorder it to their home address instead. But here's where my story really begins, and I need you to stay with me because what happens next is absolutely unbelievable. My mother's birthday was coming up, and I wanted to make it extra special. She had been through so much during the pandemic, and this was going to be our first family gathering in over a year. We were all finally vaccinated, and about 10 family members were going to come together to celebrate. My aunt was already making the main birthday cake, but I wanted to contribute something special that I knew my mother would love, her favorite apple pie from this amazing bakery across town. I spent time researching the perfect bakery, reading reviews, and finally found one that specialized in the exact type of apple pie my mother had always raved about. I placed the order, and arranged for it to be delivered to my office on Friday afternoon. The timing was perfect. The bakery would deliver the pie at 4:30, and I got off work at 5, so I would have just enough time to pick it up and take it home for the weekend celebration. I was so excited about this surprise. I had coordinated the entire birthday party, and this pie was going to be the perfect addition to make my Mother's Day absolutely perfect. After everything we had all been through during the pandemic, this felt like a symbol of hope and celebration, a return to the joy and togetherness that had been missing from our lives for so long. Friday afternoon arrived, and I was practically bouncing in my seat with anticipation. I kept checking the clock, waiting for that call from the front desk. 4:30 came and went. No call. I figured maybe the delivery was running a little late, so I waited another 10 minutes. Still nothing. 15 minutes passed, and I was starting to worry, but I told myself to be patient and kept working. Finally, I couldn't wait any longer. I called the bakery directly to check on the status of my order. The woman on the phone was confused when I told her I hadn't received my pie. She checked her system and told me something that made my blood run cold. According to their delivery tracking system, the pie had been delivered and signed for. Someone had accepted the delivery, signed my name, and the driver had even taken a photo of the signature as proof of delivery. I felt like I had been punched in the stomach. Someone had stolen my mother's birthday pie and forged my signature. I immediately went downstairs to the front desk to ask the security guard about the delivery, but it was shift change time, and the office was chaotic with people leaving for the weekend. The guard who had been there during the delivery was already gone, and the new guard had no information about what had happened during the day. I went home that Friday evening completely devastated. Not only had someone stolen from me, but they had ruined my mother's birthday surprise. The party was going to happen anyway. We had the main cake and other food, but I had been so excited about contributing this special pie that my mother loved. I felt angry, frustrated, and completely helpless. I spent the entire weekend fuming about what had happened. By Monday morning, I was determined to get to the bottom of this. I contacted the bakery again and asked them to follow up with their delivery service to get more details about who had accepted the package. The bakery owner was incredibly helpful and sympathetic. She had already contacted the delivery company and gotten a description of the person who had signed for my pie. When she told me what the delivery driver had said, I felt my heart stop. The driver described the person who received my pie as a tall, thin woman with straight blonde hair that reached the middle of her neck. He was very specific about the description because he had been confused when she signed my name, but she had insisted that she was authorized to accept packages for other people in the office. The moment I heard that description, I knew exactly who had stolen my pie. In our entire department, there was only one person who matched that exact description. A woman I had considered one of my closest work friends. Someone I had shared countless conversations with during our months of remote work. Someone I had laughed with, confided in, and trusted completely. I felt sick to my stomach. This wasn't just theft. This was a betrayal by someone I had welcomed into my inner circle. Someone who knew how excited I was about my mother's birthday party. Someone who had heard me talk about my family and how much this celebration meant to me after such a difficult year. I confronted her directly, trying to give her a chance to explain or apologize. I approached her calmly and asked if she had received a delivery meant for me on Friday. Her response was immediate and aggressive denial. She looked me straight in the eye and swore that she had never seen any package, had never signed for anything, and had no idea what I was talking about. Her performance was so convincing that for a moment I almost doubted myself, but I knew what I knew. The description was too specific, and she was the only person in our department who matched it perfectly. I went back to the front desk and spoke with the day security guard, who confirmed that she had indeed come downstairs on Friday afternoon to pick up a package and had left with a large bakery box. At this point, I realized I had no choice but to take this to human resources. This wasn't just about a missing pie. This was about theft and fraud. She had forged my signature and stolen my property. I gathered all the evidence I had: the delivery confirmation, the driver's description, the security guard's testimony, and filed a formal complaint. The HR representative assured me that they would investigate the matter thoroughly. I returned to my desk, feeling a mixture of vindication and dread. I knew I had done the right thing, but I also knew that this was going to change everything in our tight-knit work family. The atmosphere in the office shifted immediately. My coworker continued to deny everything, but now she had this guilty, paranoid look in her eyes whenever she saw me. She avoided eye contact and seemed jumpy whenever anyone mentioned packages or deliveries. I shared what had happened in our group chat, and the responses were mixed. Some people were shocked and supportive, while others seemed to think I was making a big deal out of nothing. What happened next was perhaps the most hurtful part of this entire experience. During lunch break, I noticed a group of my coworkers gathered around the woman who had stolen from me, and she was crying. They were consoling her, rubbing her back, and speaking in hushed, sympathetic tones. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Here was someone who had stolen from me, lied to my face, and committed fraud, and somehow she had managed to position herself as the victim in this situation. I tried to focus on my work and let the HR investigation run its course, but the social dynamics in our department had completely changed. People were choosing sides, and unfortunately, many of them were siding with her. I became the office pariah, the person who had caused drama and brought negativity into our previously harmonious workplace. My mother, when I told her what had happened, advised me to just let it go. She was worried that pursuing this would hurt my career and that it wasn't worth the stress and conflict. Part of me wanted to take her advice and just move on, but I couldn't shake the feeling that this was about more than just a pie. This was about principle, about trust, and about not letting someone get away with theft and deception. 10 days after I filed my complaint, she was fired. The HR representative called me into their office to give me an update on the investigation. They had reviewed the security camera footage and confirmed that she had indeed taken my package. They offered to reimburse me for the cost of the pie, but I declined. I didn't want money. I just wanted the truth to come out, and for justice to be served. What the HR representative told me next was even more shocking than I had imagined. According to office gossip that had reached their ears, this wasn't the first time she had stolen from coworkers. Apparently, during the 6 months we had been working in person, there had been multiple incidents of missing items and packages that people had attributed to carelessness or bad luck. The missing lipstick, the $20 that disappeared, the book that never made it to its owner. It was all her. The company had apparently gone back and reviewed security footage from previous incidents, and a pattern had emerged. She had been systematically stealing from her coworkers for months, taking advantage of the trust and camaraderie that we had all built during our time working remotely together. But here's the part that still makes my blood boil when I think about it. Even after she was fired for theft, even after the evidence was clear and undeniable, I became the villain in the story. The group chat that had once been a source of joy and connection became a place where people discussed how terrible it was that she had lost her job. The 2 administrators of the chat refused to remove her from the group, and she remained there, posting messages about how difficult things were for her and how unfairly she had been treated. My former coworkers rallied around her, expressing sympathy for her situation and anger toward me for causing her termination. I was treated like I had ruined an innocent person's life over something trivial. The irony was devastating. I had been the victim of theft and deception, but somehow I had become the bad guy in everyone else's narrative. The work environment became so toxic that I dreaded going to the office every day. People who had once been my friends now looked at me with suspicion and resentment. Conversations would stop when I walked into a room. I was excluded from social gatherings and office celebrations. The family-like atmosphere that had sustained me through the pandemic had been completely destroyed. What hurt the most was the realization that these people I had trusted and cared about were willing to overlook theft and fraud in order to maintain their comfortable social dynamics. They would rather blame me for reporting a crime than hold the actual criminal accountable for her actions. It was a devastating lesson about human nature and the power of manipulation. Looking back on this experience, I learned some hard truths about workplace relationships and human behavior. I learned that even people you consider close friends can betray you in the most shocking ways. I learned that victims are sometimes blamed for disrupting the status quo, even when they're seeking justice for legitimate wrongs. And I learned that doing the right thing doesn't always lead to the outcome you expect or deserve. But I also learned that I have more strength and integrity than I had ever realized. Despite the social pressure to let it go, despite being made to feel like the villain, I stood up for myself. and refused to let someone get away with stealing from me and lying about it. I may have lost some friendships and changed the dynamics of my workplace, but I kept my self-respect and my principles intact. The woman who stole my mother's birthday pie taught me a valuable lesson about trust, but not the one she probably intended. She taught me that trust should be earned and verified, not given blindly. She taught me that some people are capable of looking you in the eye and lying without any apparent remorse. And she taught me that sometimes the people who seem the most innocent and sympathetic are actually the most dangerous. This story isn't just about a stolen pie or a workplace conflict. It's about the complex dynamics of human relationships, the power of manipulation, and the courage it takes to stand up for what's right, even when everyone around you is telling you you're wrong. It's about the painful process of learning who your real friends are and discovering that sometimes the people you trust most are the ones most capable of betraying you. The most important lesson I learned from this experience is that your integrity is worth more than any friendship or social acceptance. When faced with the choice between doing what's right and doing what's easy or popular, choose what's right every single time. The people who matter will understand and support you, and the people who don't weren't really your friends in the first place. I want to end by saying that this incredible story was shared with me by one of my followers on social media. They trusted me with their experience, and I'm honored to be able to share it with all of you. Stories like this remind us that truth is often stranger than fiction, and that real-life workplace drama can be more intense than anything we see in movies or TV shows. If you found this story as shocking and eye-opening as I did, please subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, and share it with your friends and family. Leave a comment below telling me about your own workplace experiences or what you would have done in this situation. Your engagement means everything to me, and it helps ensure that important stories like this one reach as many people as possible. Thank you for watching, and remember, sometimes the most valuable lessons come from the most painful experiences.